friends, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Sarah from Ugly Duckling House, and I've got an extra long video for you today. The new feature wall in our primary bedroom is not your typical feature wall. It's got a plant shelf and it's got hidden storage and room for electronics, and we tried to think of a lot of different things to pack into a very small space. And in fact, it taught us a lot about storage solutions for our Ruby's Revival project. And if you haven't seen that, go ahead and check out that series. I want to tell you ahead of time, this is a long video because there were so many hours of footage and it took us many months to get this together. Mainly because I was also pregnant at the time, and this was a project we were doing on and off in between other projects that were more of a priority. I should also mention that because this involves a little bit of electrical work, you should consult a local expert in your area if you want to do something similar. I'm only going to include here in the video what I thought was necessary to tell the story. We did consult with someone with expertise in electrical work as well as a home inspector, so we tried to make sure that we followed all the recommendations available to us. I'd also like to say thank you to Batteries Plus for sponsoring this video and providing us with products that made smart upgrades to the wall that I think really set it apart. We started by moving over a floating bed, which we have another video for you if you haven't seen that DIY project. We pretty much still slept in the same room throughout this install, so we had to work in a tight spot, which you'll see from some of the camera angles. Then I grabbed a small pry bar and took off the baseboard where we would build out the bottom portion of the wall. We filmed just about everything over the months it took us to make this wall a reality, so I think that in areas where we had to cut for time but would make great tutorials on their own, such as removing baseboards, I'm going to keep those clips to use for future videos. In terms of planning, there was one existing outlet on the back wall of the bedroom, so that was one of the first things we had to build around. Our general concept for the feature wall was to treat it kind of like a built-in or a cabinet space with hidden drawers and a few extra features. While there would be some electrical work to make the outlet accessible again, we wouldn't really be removing the wall behind it, so we would need an access panel below the headboard area to make sure nothing was covered over. Using tape, I mapped out general proportions of what I had in mind for the rest of the design directly on the wall, and then Kyle cut down the studs to form the basic framework after we had gotten a chance to mock it up in a CAD program. Even with the full mock-up of our design, figuring out the first set of 2x4s to create the bottom structure was kind of a mess, mainly because we were working across a large wall, one side of which was angled, and with a narrow area to actually assemble. So we used long screws to secure it to the floor and to the studs behind the drywall, then basically repeated it again to make the front portion. We had limited selection for longer boards at the store, so we had to make do with some less than pristine pieces and then try and accommodate them during the install. The front section was going to be covered in thin plywood, so it was important to make sure that the studs were all sitting as flush as possible for the best end result. So we had to get a little creative sometimes with making sure that that was possible. Once the front and back portions were installed, we moved on to add middle supports. We would later be installing drawers on either side of where the bed would be, so we had to be careful where these were placed so that they didn't interfere with anything else that we'd be adding later. Kyle also cut down the top piece for the shelf, which had to be very precise, while I added more screws and supports where needed. Building the drawers was next on the list, which we created using half-inch plywood. This is where things really started to feel like we were building something fun because the hidden drawers were partly created as a way to give ourselves some practice for our vintage camper project, where figuring out places to tuck extra storage will be both a challenge and a big priority. Building a drawer is fairly simple, especially the way that I did it here. I created a box, carefully making sure that all four sides were square, and then attach the bottom directly to the underside. I don't really prefer the look of drawer bottoms glued flat like this, but I didn't feel it was necessary to go through the effort of adding a groove with these small drawers. Plus, it would never really be seen after painting. Before painting, Kyle tested out the drawer to make sure it fit, also known as making sure we didn't completely waste our time and have to build them over again before we moved on to the next step, which was ironing on and trimming down all the edge banding to hide all of the raw plywood edges. I've been using edge banding quite a few times in projects lately, so a separate beginner tutorial will be coming soon with my tips and tricks. I think 99 times out of 100, this is what I use my iron for. This little mini sander comes in really handy for finishing these edges, by the way. I'll have a link in the description for most of the tools and products I used in today's video, but it's going to be a long list, so I'll probably have a small one and then a full list over on my blog with the rest of the written info about this install. After painting all of the drawers, we realized that the top one on each side needed a large notch cut out the back to accommodate the outlet we were placing inside. Wire to come this way and come this way. This outlet is mainly going to be used for charging phones by the bedside and is mounted into that middle drawer divide. The back section of the drawer is still functional, but the front area houses the cord for the outlet and has an accordion-like attachment to keep the cord from getting bunched up as the drawer opens and closes. Figuring out how to secure the outlet into the already assembled drawer was a little tricky, but we found a way by drilling holes through the backside. We could have also used a ratcheting screwdriver, but I have a habit of misplacing the tool I need most when I need it, so a garage update is desperately needed to reorganize and make a more efficient workspace, so expect to see some of that this summer. After testing things out, we realized that the notch I'd created for the drawers was just too far over to the side, so I had to make new ones. I hate making obvious mistakes on camera, but my hope in sharing them is that they make you feel a little bit better about whatever mistake you made in your last DIY. It happens to all of us, but some of us just get the choice to edit that part out. As I worked on the drawers, Kyle installed the drawer slides. They're kind of stiff and are not self-closing, and in fact, it's kind of the opposite because we were again seeing how we liked them as part of the Vintage Camper project. So they're in fact designed to stay closed and not fly open and not slide shut, so you're going to need a little bit of extra effort to get them open. Yes, that means that they're stiff for this functional use, but it gave us good experience to understand how it's going to work when we actually have to do it in the camper. As I mentioned before, there was an outlet on this wall that had to be moved and split so that we could have power on either side of the bed instead of in the middle. I originally wanted to cover it all here, but I noticed that during my first round of edits that all of it really sort of interrupted the flow of the rest of the DIY and needs more of Kyle's input for an explainer. So we'll create a separate video and link it. I am not an electrical expert myself, so we did a ton of research and reached out to some experts we know for advice and also talked to a home inspector so that we could follow all recommendations. I'm still going to say that when it comes to electrical work though, it's best to get help from a certified pro and use that expertise for the best outcome. As part of the electrical work, we needed to create an access panel for the middle area so that the existing outlet could be easily accessed if needed. This is also going to make it easier to switch everything back someday when we decide to take the built-in out. With our main structure complete and the drawers installed, it was time to close everything up and move on to the finishing touches. For the front surface, we used thin plywood. It's very flexible, paintable, and something we'll rely on a lot for the camper too. Here, Kyle is finishing up the last of his hinged experiment to keep the outlet cord from tangling or bunching. He's a design engineer and the company he works for uses similar products, but the kind of mechanism used in commercial settings was way out of our budget, so he came up with this himself using miscellaneous scrap. Once the larger pieces of plywood were installed, I attached the small drawer faces using a card trick I'd learned many years ago from Brad at Fix This Build That. As I glue and nail each face to the drawer, I'm separating them using a small stack of business cards. The cards allow for minor adjustments in thickness while also allowing me to keep spacing consistent between the drawers, so thanks, Brad. For the top drawer, I wanted to add a small ledge to basically form a floating nightstand tabletop. I'd had some pieces of scrap oak, so I glued them together and then cut them down and cut the corners to form a more rounded look. I actually wound up using a spool of thread to give the exact curve I wanted to replicate on the edges, so that's what I used for my markings. To help hide the seam between the oak boards, I cleaned off the dried wood glue, filled the visible gaps with just a little bit more glue, and then sanded the surface before the glue was fully dry. This embedded the sawdust into the seam and virtually eliminated any visible gap. This is red oak, and I wanted to eliminate the reddish hue from the final result, so I ran a few tests before figuring out my final stain color. I first added a wood conditioner to the oak to help ensure that the stain would penetrate evenly, and then I added a whitewash stain to help sort of bleach the red tint in the grain, and then I added a cool tone wood stain on top. I wound up really liking this combination because it left the wood a nice neutral light brown. I'll of course include links to these products in the description, so if you want that combination, you can find it there. I added several coats of satin poly and then attached the tabletops to the top drawers on either side of the bed using wood glue and nails. Like I mentioned in the beginning, the project happened over the course of about a year, including my pregnancy. I went through several different paint colors too, trying to find the right fit as an accent wall. However, as I was finishing it all up, I eventually realized that what I wanted was a calming space that made me relax the instant I saw it. So I once again changed the final color. But before I did that, I had to eliminate all the visible seams to get the surface ready for the final trim. Most of these larger seams are, by design, being covered over with additional trim, but I still wanted to give as smooth of a surface as possible. So I filled in all of the nail holes too and used a filler that changes from pink to white as it dries. An old trick my grandfather taught me was to use a slightly damp sponge to smooth out these smaller holes. It prevented me from having to clean up a lot of dust. Especially in a room like this, that was very helpful. But note that this technique doesn't work quite as well for larger patch areas, so you may still need to do some sanding. With the entire surface primed, I could move on to the final trim. I wanted a decorative trim on either side while leaving the area behind the bed flat, so I used 1x2 MDF to create a vertical pattern of slats that carried up both wall surfaces. For spacing the slats, we cut small 5/8 inch blocks of scrap that were the same width as the pole from our light fixtures, and you'll see why that is in a minute. This helped make sure that the slats had even spacing and stayed in alignment with each other. I would also recommend to start from one side and then go in one direction only across, because you'll wind up with fewer mistakes that way. You should also cut your pieces from largest to smallest just in case you make a mistake. This will prevent you from using up too much of your wood on small cuts. The drawers were definitely tricky, but the spacer blocks is what really allowed me to keep everything lined up. I was thrilled when I could test out the drawers with the trim attached, and since this allowed us to grip the drawer, there's no need for additional hardware, so it makes the drawers practically disappear into the wall. I repeated the same on the other side of the bed, but since this had an angled wall, I had to use my square to make sure that the bottom lined up with the top and stand back and check it half a dozen times or so to make sure that it looked right. Next came paint, and I chose a neutral color that was a few shades darker than the rest of the creamy white walls in the bedroom. After staring at darker colors for months and being unable to decide, I realized that a calming neutral was much more relaxing and would allow me to jazz up the room later with art and other accents. The last few steps were all about lighting and getting rid of these unsightly cords. First, we took off the base from the lamp using a pipe cutter. They are super simple to use. You tighten the cutter around the mark you want to cut at and then wind it around, which will score the pipe. As you cut, continue tightening and the score will cut deeper and deeper until it's entirely through. We needed a tidy way to feed the cords to the new outlets, so we used a hole saw and fit a large grommet into place, and then glued the lamp into place as well. The MDF trim fits very snugly around the light pole, so this was more to make sure it was doubly secured to the built-in. As we neared the end of this project, Batteries Plus reached out and offered to send us a few things to help finish it off before summer, which we really think pushed this project to 100%. First, they sent us these new Genie smart bulbs to replace our old lamp bulbs. It still has the Edison style I wanted, but we can control them through Alexa. They give off more light than before, but we can also dim them as low as 1% in the evenings to relax. Second, we selected these battery backups to go on either side of the bed. We get summer storms here in Georgia that sometimes knock out power, so these will act as a surge protector and a source of battery power.
Instead of a normal extension cord or power strip, what's the difference here?
So these are all surge protected outlets, and these are all battery backup and surge protected outlets.
Okay, so in the event of a storm,
These will still be on.
okay, so they'll still power stuff like our cell phones and everything.
Yes.
Okay, that should come in handy this summer.
Finally, I've got a wireless charging pad, eliminating yet another power cord hanging by the side of the bed. When all was said and done and installed and painted and hung and planted and tidied up, we have our new feature wall. Funnily enough, I didn't think to order new bedding in time for this video, but Kyle did a pretty good job of decorating it, and I'll be adding more to that headboard area, creating new art, adding crown, and more DIYs coming your way very soon. So we can call this project done and another step toward our finished bedroom.
Cool. Okay, stop with the creepy smile.
I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please subscribe and hit that like button and hit the notifications so that you know when the next video goes live on my channel. Thanks again to Batteries Plus for sponsoring this video, and until next time, see you later!